So you are interested in studying in Germany? Well, this video is going to have everything you need from A to Z to help you understand that Germany is the right pick for you. I've made similar videos on many other countries so you can compare them easily. For now, let's get started. First thing that is very important is why should you study in Germany? And to that, the common answer is that it is almost one of the cheapest countries to study abroad in the Western world. And yes, that answer is correct. That is a major reason why you should study in Germany. You get access to some of the most amazing universities worldwide. You get 18 months to find a job after your degree is finished. That's quite a long time, right? You have a whole pathway to PR mapped out. After you get a job, you can basically get PR, and we're going to talk about that shortly. And the best of the best, even with this low investment, you can actually move to any country in the European Union after you get your blue card. So Germany basically gives you access to the whole of Europe after some point. So if you're going to go to Germany, what would be the best location for you to go to? Because location is very important after your degree as well if you want to find a good job, right? See, Germany is quite big. Mapping down 3 locations was difficult for me. But my first choice is going to be Munich, where there are universities like Technical University of Munich, one of the most amazing universities, not just in Germany, but the whole world. The next one is Berlin, where there's universities like Humboldt University of Berlin. And number 3 for me is going to be Aachen, where there's universities like RWTH Aachen University, again, one of the most popular universities on the world rankings. Now, these are not it. There's quite some more amazing universities, and I'm going to be telling you how you can check them out and get their tuitions and everything later. But before that, you should know what are the major intakes if you are going to be planning your next study abroad endeavor in Germany. So the biggest intake is called the winter intake, which basically starts in September. This intake usually has its end deadlines in July. Basically, July is the last time to apply. After that, September, you are gone to Germany already. But please note, you don't want to wait till July. That's really the end moment. Apply much before that if you can. The second biggest intake is the summer intake. And this is again something you need to know because this one starts around April. The deadlines for this one are somewhere around January. Again, that's the maximum time. Apply much before if possible. Now, one of the most important things to know is what should you study in Germany? See, every country has its specializations. Not every country is right for computing. Not every country is right for medicine. And not every country may be right for mechanical engineering. But in this case, Germany takes away mechanical engineering as #1 spot. So if you are hoping to study some of the topmost courses, mechanical and automotive engineering would be at the top of the list in Germany. You might already know some of the best cars all over the world are German made, so I'm not very surprised when you see that Germany really tops the list. The third one is going to be computer science on my list. Again, quite a lot of jobs, good industry, and payouts are decent as well. The next one is electrical engineering, followed by business, and finally medicine and healthcare. Now, these are some of my topmost programs to study in Germany. This does not mean that this is an exhaustive list though. Finally, let's talk about tuition fee, the major part. That's really why we're here, why Germany is in the top countries to study abroad. The reason is the tuition fee. So the thing is that if you go to public universities in Germany, and this is usually in public universities only, the tuition is heavily sponsored by the government. And for capitalistic reasons, people would not like it in some cases because once you go overseas to Germany and you get a job later on, you'll be paying a lot of taxes, which goes into this. But the tuition, as a student at least, is quite low. So for public universities, you can expect to pay somewhere between 150 to 1500 euros per annum. It's amazing. That tuition fee is actually much lesser than you would pay in a country like India even. However, if you go to a German university which is private, expect to pay somewhere between 10,000 to 30,000 euros per annum. Remember that these fees and deadlines and all of these things, they keep on changing based on the exact university and program you're going for. So you can keep an eye out for these on YMGrad.com. You can look up any university, any program, and you will know the exact tuition fee for that program, what kind of deadlines there are upcoming, so you can already keep that university in your plans. Let's talk about the accepted language tests. Now, to go to Germany, you don't always have to know German. That's the beauty of it, because they do have international programs where you can study in English. But an English language test is certainly important, and that is almost always non-negotiable. So if you want to go to Germany, the best test to take would be the IELTS English language test, followed by the TOEFL if the IELTS is not possible for you. Let's talk about the application process. The first thing you want to do is to shortlist the right universities, and I cannot stress that enough. The reason is, if you already in the beginning itself shortlist the wrong universities, you're wasting almost 1 year of your time, because you're gonna get the result quite late, then you can only apply next year. Again, if you need help with that part of the process, you can WhatsApp me for help, or you can take a look at our shortlisting service where we'll be able to take care of all your needs, requirements, constraints, whatever you may have. The next most important thing in the application process is to meet the minimum requirements. So requirements such as your CGPA should be above maybe 2.5 out of 4 or above 60%, right? Percentage. You may have requirements on that. You may have requirements such as your standardized test scores should be present, such as your GRE or GMAT, although in most cases these are waived nowadays, but still. You will certainly almost always have a requirement of an SOP or an essay, depending on exactly which degree you're going for. And again, if you need help getting your SOP done right, you do not want to use AI, trust me on that one. You need help with a human writer writing your draft, essentially from an Ivy League university who's already made it. You can take a look at our SOP drafting service in that case. Finally, a couple other requirements. You have an online application. You have to submit an online form for the universities, and you can easily do that on Uni Assist in most cases. And finally, you have to pay an application fee for universities before applying. In a lot of cases, if you're applying through us, you will have application fee waivers, and you can WhatsApp me for those. Moving on to the most exciting part of this video, post-study work permit. What happens after you complete your degree? So at first you get a post-study work visa, which is of 18 months max. Now in these 18 months, you can work in almost any field you want. You can work at McDonald's for all I care. But at the end of these 18 months, max to max, you should almost always have a job in the domain that you studied in. And when you do, by the way, you can go ahead and apply for a work permit visa. Once you have the work permit visa, what you want to do is you want to work for 2 years as a minimum. Remember, you can work for longer, but once you have worked for 2 years, you're now eligible to apply for an EU Blue Card, which essentially is your permanent residence in the European Union. Once you have that, your life is sorted. You can stay in Europe, you can work, and you can basically go to other countries as well. I understand that's a lot of information to take in, and maybe you're still confused about whether you should go to Germany or not. Well, whether you've decided or you're confused, you can reach out to me on WhatsApp and I'll be able to assist you. You can also connect with me on Instagram for any questions or doubts that you may have, and I would love to connect with you and chat. Thank you so much for watching this video. That's all I had for you today. Make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye and take care.